What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. Today we have an amazing individual with us, and she is somebody who has done some incredible stuff and continues to do some amazing stuff. She's been a fitness coach, she's a fitness consultant, and on top of that, she's a PUMA. What is it now? Tell me, because you just entered a new role. You're not an athlete anymore. What are you? Tell me. Come in here and tell me.
What am I?
Tell me.
I mean, I would say I'm a fitness consultant, and I work primarily at this point with PUMA. Yeah, and I'm working on their PUMA training ambassador program.
So what do you call it? Because tell us all. Because this is Emily Harris right here, guys. Give us that role, because that's a big role.
I mean, I don't know. Do I even have a fancy title? I feel like
If not, we're going to give you one.
I would love. I would.
I was like, I don't even know how to introduce her with PUMA, because I was like, I knew her PUMA when I first started, and you were on this, and I'm like, wait, now she's on the other side. I was like, she's on the deeper end of stuff now. So I was like,
yeah, no,
how do I
of course.
introduce her here?
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate that. I work more on the strategy of like what's going on with PUMA trainers and how can we get PUMA trainers out into the world. And I feel that deeply because, as you just mentioned, my introduction to PUMA was in 2016 when I started working with them as an ambassador. So as a trainer, I met them when I was in New York. I live in Los Angeles now, but I was in New York teaching, and I got connected with them as, a group fitness instructor and a personal trainer in the city. I was running my own personal training company in the city, doing residential training, and sort of that relationship started. And then over the years, I've gotten to do sort of different projects with them. And it's been this very organic evolution of, I've worked on their app, PUMATRAC. I worked on their app way back in 2017, and like a little bit more every year, and being involved in like the workout programming and what are the actual nuts and bolts of what are the exercises and what should they be called and all these sorts of things. So that's evolved. And then now I worked on some of the events that have happened over the years. I've gotten to teach for them, actually, literally around the world. One of my most insane trips was with them, and teaching with the New York City Ballet and PUMA, where we got to legit travel to 5 different countries in 2 weeks. And we didn't sleep. There was no sleep on that trip. And now I'm working more with really in the nuts and bolts of the PUMA trainers and what's happening in the day-to-day, and how are we impacting people through that sort of alignment with the brand and with product and with the PUMA ethos. But yeah, I don't have a short thing for it. And I think because the way my brain works is, to me, it all seems so interconnected. I equally can't put one thing of like 2 words together of what I do. What I love is movement, and what I love is people. And I would say the intersection of anything in my life over my 11-year journey as a coach has been the intersection of movement and people. So guys, if there's a title for that, I'm a people mover lover. Great. Call me whatever you want. But yeah, so very recently, sort of my role has increased there to deal more specifically with the trainers, which, like I said, is sort of really beautiful and cool, because that was exactly how I started with the brand. Yeah. And
that is why there was no specific label introducing you in the PUMA family. You just are PUMA. That's it. You are PUMA. Plain and simple.
I'm honored. And like I said, it's been an amazing journey with the brand. And I feel like it parallels my other experiences of just continuing to follow what felt interesting to me, continuing to follow what felt fun to me, and being willing to evolve. I am not the same person as a person 5 years ago, and my career looks different than it looks 5 years ago, than it looks 10 years ago, etc. And I think it's that mindset and that willingness to continue to evolve and follow things that are fun and interesting. And I've done more work with production in the last 4 years. And I've realized I really like that. If you would have come out the gate and said, hey, do you want to do production? I might've said, I don't really even know. I don't know what that entails. I don't know. But coming at it through the realm of fitness and movement, well, I like movement and I like people. Oh, well then movement and people are needed on a set in order to make workouts. And it was like, oh, I really like that. Because my background was in dance. And so dance and production, actually, they're very interrelated. And, early in my New York days, I had done some commercials like those. It wasn't so foreign to me, but I wouldn't have necessarily picked it out of a lineup. But as I started having opportunities to do it, I realized that I really enjoyed it. So just one of the many sort of things that I've collided with in my path, that it was as it was meant to be. It was as it was meant to be. There's no other sort of explanation. I can't say that I purposely chose anything specific. I let them unfold and I followed what felt interesting.
I love that you brought that up and said that, because I think sometimes through just the flow of our life and our journey, these things, as long as you're moving and putting in the work and taking the actions and moving forward, you see these things start falling in place and aligning for you. And then you can start seeing, okay, cool, I got this going on. Cool, I got this going on. Cool, this can work for me. Oh man, I didn't even know about this. And oh man, there's an opportunity here. So it's amazing to hear all these amazing different avenues that you've gone through and continue to go through and have been able to just align yourself with. And at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's for you, it's movement and it's just impact and, you know, being around people, you know. And I think that's truly amazing of how you've narrowed everything yourself down, where everything you do revolves around that. And I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How have you been able to, you know, really take control of this new role now? You know, was it a role that you approached PUMA about? Was it, you know, kind of mutual? How did it all kind of, you know, come together? And, you know, how have you been able to really take the reins of it? Because it sounds like you're doing a great job already from the stuff that Mendez has told me.
Thank you.
In order to, you know, really help the whole PUMA community come closer together, especially during times like now, you know, where, you know, things can be very divisive within internal companies, right?
Completely. You know, I mean, I think I've been sort of working in tandem and around the trainers and the app, all of this for many years. Like I said, way back to 2016 when I was sort of just in the program, and then 2017 when I sort of did the first consultant thing when we had the opportunity with the New York City Ballet, and I helped to create a workout that was the fusion of dance and training. Those were my passions. Again, the stars aligned. I was in the right place at the right time to bring my gifts to the world, and there it was. And then that led to being more involved with the app, and then that led to being more involved with events. And so, I mean, I think in terms of, I'm very excited because it feels very authentic to me. It feels very authentic to, I know this team, I know these trainers, and I feel passionately about their abilities. I want to lift them up. I want to find opportunities for them to get to shine, because it just feels so organic to me in that regard. And then I'm very passionate about the training aspect. So I've been doing focus groups about product. Anthony was a part of one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And so that also feels like I want to make sure I'm bringing the skills and expertise that I can uniquely and confidently bring. And that's going to be around the realm of, are we being as authentic to the experience of training and incorporating all of what these, you know, experts in their field know? Is that making its way in? Because I see it very specifically from this lens of, you know, I work with the global marketing team, but I see it on the ground. I see it from the consumer's eye and I see it from the trainer's eye. I don't see it from way up high. So I do think that's actually an advantage. I think it's an advantage to see it from the route that I came. But the passions, I mean, coming back to movement and people, but because I believe in these people, because I am these people.
I really love that, because, you know, I think it's amazing, especially when, you know, you being deep into PUMA and working with them on a whole nother level, and them also allowing them allowing you for you to take some kind of a freedom and creativity of implementing what you know, what you believe in, and what your strengths are, and incorporate that in that business and brand to bring it out into life and actually serve people, the trainers themselves, and, you know, impact, you know. And I think, like you said, it's amazing that, you know, training being as important it is, that, you know, they're allowing you to step into that role as well and create these models, create these programs, create these fun events that have a purpose, that it's not just, oh, we're going to go out here and sweat and lose some weight and do this and burn some calories. No, there's a purpose behind it. Like, you get the right people in place, you know, they specialize in these things. There's a reason behind it. You know, there's a reason why this program works. There's a reason why these events are in play, and there's a reason why people like taking them. And I think that's, you know, very, very important. And, you know, not many brands out there do that, or they allow that creativity where, only very specific, Puma being one of them, allow for that. And I think that's one of the things that I definitely like about Puma the most. And on another note, you doing what you do with us, and even before, now what you're involved with more with Puma, you've always been super attentive. You've always been very attentive with us, with the team, the athletes, the trainers, the coaches. And, it goes to show, and I'm not just saying that, but it's so true. Very welcoming, always asked us, hey, like, what's your feedback? Did you like the event? Did you like the products? You like what we gave out? If you didn't, like, let us know, how's it going? Like, and I love that. And I love that. And I think that's a big part of why you're having so much success, and why Puma as well has taken big leaps, because I know that even a few years ago, Puma wasn't where it was to where it is today, and I know that it made a big shift in its identity and the way that it's presented itself, because Puma for a while took a dip, and then they catapulted back up. So, and I know for a fact it's because they have people like yourself involved.
Well,
You're so awesome.
I think
Thank
that's
you for
how
that.
I think that's how you continually grow as a company, right? Even as these ebbs and flows kind of happen, the ability to be flexible and allow people like yourself, right, to really be able to express who they are as an individual and leave their stamp on the company, through their role within the company. It's so important, and that's really how you can kind of transcend even, specific cultural blips in life, right? Or as we continue to, go through our own lives, right? These cultural shifts, right? You're able to change with those as you allow people like yourself to be able to really take hold of their position and put forth their expression of their individuality within inside the company.
Yeah. And I would say a few things. One, I feel very supported to do that. So I think that I would consider myself very entrepreneurial by nature. Like when I moved to New York, I had a corporate job, and then I had some sort of like freelance residential personal training as I was dancing. And I was very much like, let me just sort of chart my own path. That was fun to me. And starting my own company in the city, like there were no resources, there were no connects. It was like, I believe in this, I believe I can make this happen, and I'm going to chart that. That's always sort of been a part of me. And I think one thing that I've always loved about Puma is I felt like I was working in a structure that would be, seen from the outside as very traditional, but it felt entrepreneurial on the inside because everything that I was doing was new. Oh, we're going to work on this new app. Okay, let's go, right? It was an entrepreneurial project within a bigger structure. The PUMA Trainer program, it was a new project. And okay, cool. So I get to take my creativity and my resourcefulness in the very entrepreneurial threads of who I am and apply that to move things forward. So I think I felt supported to do that, but it also is who I am in order, to push that forward. And I think I believe in the people. So like Anthony, you had mentioned, I would, like check up on guys, how's everybody doing? Like that sort of thing. That's also just in my nature. But I think because I believe in the power that movement has to change someone's life. I have seen that for myself. I have seen that for other people that I have worked with, that it is infinitely greater than, oh, my arms are stronger, my legs are stronger, my glutes are stronger, or I lost some weight.
Thank you for noticing.
You're so welcome. I was like, hey, and there's nothing wrong with those things. But
Right.
even way back in New York, when I started my company, it was like, I didn't see fitness and movement being represented how I felt about it. I felt that it is this insanely powerful tool to change your life. And that is the power that I believe fitness professionals have, is we have this ability to empower other people to pick themselves up and move their lives forward. And I think movement is one of the best, most tangible ways that we can do that. So it also feels so personal to me, right? It's that personal passion in the responsibility that we have to change our lives, and that movement is one of the best foundations to do that. And then I get to work with a team of people and trainers who are doing exactly that with their communities around the world. So it's almost like that passion of mine gets to literally spread out through all of these people it's the same thread. It's the same thread.
You create a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
I think as coaches in general in the health and fitness field, right, we're innately entrepreneurial. Even if you don't really realize it, or you aren't ready at this current moment to be able to take that big of a risk and take that leap to go out on your own, right? You're still, at least if you're working at most gyms, right, you're finding your own clients. You're doing your own marketing, even if it's just like you working out on the floor, right? That's really, that in essence is marketing,
Of course.
So to hear you say, like, I was able to really like get my entrepreneurial juices flowing within a role of like a very big company, is great to hear, because too often, I have a ton of friends. I'm from New York, not from the city, but I have a ton of friends that live in the city who work in corporate jobs, and they tell me all the time, like, I feel stifled. I don't feel like I feel restricted. I don't feel like I'm able to like really, do as much as I can, because they're not giving me the opportunity to do that. So it's amazing to hear that, not only you were given that opportunity, but you took it and you ran with it, right? You put action behind the intention, and I think that that's so important for people to understand, because too often, at least I've experienced it with the people that I've worked with, is that they say, oh, I want to do these things, or I'm so focused on this. And then there's no real action behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what can you leave, or what can you give our listeners, for advice in terms of like, being able to take that step, being able to take the initiative to say, no, this is my job. This is my role. This is my responsibility. I'm going to take it and run with it, and, screw what everyone else is thinking. Like, I know what I need to do, and I need to go forward with it full speed ahead.
I think the more that you can get clear on what it is within that you are so passionate about, that can then be that cup that can overflow. But if you don't even know why you're trying to push something forward, the inauthenticity will read. Like,
100%.
I believe that passion is very tangible. So you can tell if someone is excited and really believes in what they're talking about, versus if they're just trying to push something forward because they think they have to, because they feel pressured to and whatnot. So I think I'm big on like inner clarity. I do a lot of journaling. I believe in therapy. I believe in like, you need to get clear on the inside of you of what is your truth and what are you really, what is really true to you and what are you passionate about? Because from that, you can go forward. So I think in my case, I have been able to continue to grow with them because it continued to be aligned with the things that I was really passionate about. And so I think about the early days of when I started a company with 0 client. And I'm referring to when I was doing personal training in the city, background, in New York. I'm in Los Angeles now. Okay.
He's from New York.
Huh?
Not the city, though. I'm from
He's
the
not from-
boonies.
Okay, yeah.
I'm from bumblefuck nowhere.
All parts of New York are great. I lived in New York in the city for 7 years, and
All parts? Are you sure? All parts?
Okay, but I haven't been to all parts. You're
I've been
right.
some
You're
parts.
right.
I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here.
Okay, let me speak to only what I know. I lived in New York City, and I loved my experience. I'm a better human because of the grit and the ambition that city brought out of me. Praise.
There we go.
So that's real.
You like
What was
LA
I
or
talking
New York?
about?
You like
What was I
LA or
talking
New
about?
York better?
Huh? They're so different.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I lived in New York first. So I moved to New York after college for an internship. Technically, it was the end of college. I studied kinesiology, and I had to do an internship in the field. I went to school at LSU in Louisiana, Baton Rouge,
Nice.
Louisiana.
Nice.
And
Go Tigers.
Yes,
Hey.
thank you so much. Look, we finally won in the football. It's amazing.
Right?
Anyways, back on track.
It's amazing. All right, back.
It's amazing. Okay.
See about those Bengals now. Joe Burrow.
But so I had to do an internship. A lot of my, friends were doing it where we lived in the region, or maybe they did New Orleans. And I found this internship. A former student had done an internship in New York at the NBC Fitness Center. And that was sort of the pie in the sky. I was like, that's what I want. I had loved New York for a long time. I had, gone on my first trip when I was 13. And I was like, this city's amazing. I got to live there. So long story short, I ended up getting the internship. And so I spent a summer in New York as an intern at the NBC Fitness Center. It was literally the same floor as SNL. So it was like half of it was SNL and the other floor was the fitness center. Anyway, so all that to say, that got me to New York, and I was working there and doing things. But the point I was trying to get to, we went all over the place on this question.
Yeah, that's all right. That's great. We got plenty of time. So.
Was the fact that I started something before I had things around me that would show me that it was possible. So saying, okay, I really believe in this and I'm going to put this out into the world and I'm going to start this, even though the outside world is not necessarily telling me like, oh yeah, that's awesome. You should totally do that. Or we have a place for you at the table. It wasn't saying that. But I think that when you sort of have that clear driver for yourself, then you can move that forward. So I think for someone that is in more of a, a structured environment, I think it would be a matter of pinpointing what are those things that you are really passionate about and clear. And if you're not sure, then start something on the side that just feels pure so that you can reconnect to that, because I guarantee you'll be able to find a way to then infuse that creativity that you cultivated maybe as a side hustle or a weekend thing. If you connect to that creative spirit within yourself, you can infuse that back into the shit that you're doing in your everyday, but maybe you just forgot what it feels like.
Big time. And I think one of the most important things, like we were touching upon earlier was, you got to build clarity. You have to build clarity on yourself, and working with clients is building that clarity to be able to understand, where you want to be in the first place. What do you want out of life? What are the goals you want to achieve? And building that self-awareness to then move forward and do these things, because, if you don't have that clarity, then that's where you're going to feel stuck, lost. And then you're just going to go through the world, just rambling, doing different things, not ever knowing or understanding, is this for me? Is this not for me? Should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? And then next thing you know it, time goes on and you never really did what you really wanted. Then you finally you're starting to figure that out and you're like, shit,
or you didn't have a clear why.
Or you didn't have a clear
why. The why is
like,
so important.
Yeah, like you went after something. This was big for me with my personal training clients of if, you say, oh, I want the six pack or I want the things. And I would say, why? What do you think that's going to give you? Get me down to the why. And then we can actually craft some real habits and real lifestyle changes around the why, because otherwise you're going to arrive at the destination and realize that it's not even giving you what you thought it was going to give you. So save yourself some time also.
No, it's great. It's great you said that. I actually have been, I've been working with this client of mine for, over 5 years now, and he's had some, great improvements, and he's lost a ton of weight, lost over 40 pounds at one point, got sick, gained it back. He's kind of done the yo-yo thing. And for that exact reason, right? Like never really, he can never really get to or remind himself of that why, and now, he found like his boyfriend and, he's super excited and been dropping weight like crazy. And like, okay, well, now that you have a big reason to, you got to keep reminding yourself this. And then after you accomplish the goals that you have currently set out, don't forget about that why, remember the thing that got you to the success in the first place and keep that throttle going, keep hitting the gas pedal.
So Emily, I want to ask you, because I know it's easy for us to say, oh, find your why, discover your why, go out there, search for it. There's different tools out there. I know I have one that I use with my clients, and I really dive into it. It's called 7 Levels Deep. And it's around also part of building clarity, but
super deep.
Yeah, it is deep.
Yeah. I was like, can we do it? What is it? It sounds cool. Is it like questions and you just keep like getting to the center of my soul? Like, let's go.
Why?
I will
and
send
Dan,
you
let's
and Dan,
go.
And Dan.
Oh yeah.
And Dan.
He went through it. Yeah. I'll have to send it to you.
But that's, I can even picture it. That's what it is. It's saying, I want this. Okay, why? Well, because I want to feel this. Again. Okay, but why? Like, that's what it is. It's the depths of someone's soul.
It sounds annoying to have to go through, but it actually is very beneficial.
It looks easy, but I always say it's the hardest one because it's easily to get stuck along the way in the middle. So my question for you is, what is your favorite tool, or what tools have you used or recommend to others to figure out their why?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think getting quiet and getting away from the noise is profound. I think we have so much input these days from things that do make our lives better, and help us be more connected, like social media. But I also think they can pull us, let's just say, looking out instead of looking in, and looking for answers and input from out there as opposed to like the 7 layers deep within. So I would say a big one for me is getting quiet. And I love being loud and energetic. And so I also equally need the yang. Is it the yang or the yang? I don't know, but I need the other one. So I'm big on journaling about being quiet, and let me actually just write out literally 1 page a morning. That's it. Like, I don't do prompts. I just say, what am I feeling and thinking today? And I just write it down. But that grounds me in the moment. I also think just being in nature. I mean, living in very urban cities, like very densely populated cities, I think that it's so essential to like go feel the fucking grass. Like put your feet in it.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I was thinking,
Just like
I was thinking that exact thing. I was like, man, I'm kind of feeling beat up. Like, all right, after we get done with the podcast today, like, I'm going to go to the beach for like at least a half an hour, just to like get in the sand, feel the water,
Yes. There's something biological, chemical that happens when we are in nature. I am not a scientist on that topic, but I can feel it from personal experience that something changes.
Well, it's what we did for, thousands of years.
True.
And we lost some of it.
Yeah, a lot.
So I got to ask you, has this been Emily always since you were little, or was this something that got developed along the way? Or, obviously I know there's parts of, hey, I always had some of this, but I grew. But what is the true essence of who you are? Because, to me, off the bat, it feels like, man, this is somebody, like every time I connect with you, it's like vibrant. I felt like this is somebody who's always been like this. I don't know if that's true, but have you always been like this since you were young?
I think for the most part, yes, there's always been an enthusiasm for life. It just is in me. Even as I say that, I get goosebumps like a big nerd. So I think that has always been there. I'm picturing a photo that is literally a t-shirt that says, I love life. Okay. So cheesy. Yes, but true. That was not this year, by the way. That was an old photo, but whatever. So I think there has always been that energy there, but I do think that the older that I get more confident with listening to myself. So I think that has absolutely grown. But I've always been a big dreamer. Like I was always, growing up a dancer, it was always like, I dream I'm going to be on Broadway. Like I dream I'm going to go live in New York. I dream I'm going. So I do think that sort of that love of dance and the arts and theater. And I got to do a national tour for a musical. So like there were things that I did dream that I got to fulfill. But I think it's because first I had that inner belief. Here's the belief. I don't think that we have dreams for no reason. If you really go to the 7 layers deep and you feel way down there that you're like, I have the biggest dream. One day I'm going to have my own studio. And you're like, it feels so clear and so real. I just don't think you would have that there for no reason. Why? Why would that be there to torture you? I don't believe that. So I think if that's in you in some capacity, then there is value in seeking it out. There's value in following it. It may not turn out as you expect it to turn out, but it will put you on the path of where you need to go. And other things will collide with you along the way. And I think that has been true for me throughout. So even when shit didn't go my way, even when it crashed and burned, sometimes when I lit the match and burnt it myself, like those things will happen. But I think the deep belief was still that if I have a dream, I don't think it's here for no reason. I think it's here to give me direction.
I have to agree 100% because Josh and I have taught this, about.
You're going to steal my thought from me already.
All the time.
We've been on
the podcast too, but
oh man.
All right. You want to go in?
Rock, paper, scissors? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Really? Ready? One time? Let's go. Right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, you go.
All right, perfect. Yes, I finally beat my
I'm so excited. What is this thought?
God,
what
now
is
I
it
forgot
going
what
to
I was
be?
going to say. No, I'm kidding.
No.
No, so kind of like what he was saying already, is we come to these kind of conclusions. I know him and I have mentioned this before, as he was about to say before I beat him in rock, paper, scissors.
First time, by the way, on a podcast too.
I witnessed it. Everyone, I saw it. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. There was no cheating involved. I can bear witness.
He always picks scissors. That's what I know to do.
It's because he's told me to cut my hair, so I'm just getting scissors already.
No, but I know, Mendes at one point owned a gym. I thought about owning a couple of gyms. I, had kicked the tires around with some of my clients who wanted to invest. And like you were mentioning before, or just a minute ago, right, is like, these were very lofty goals that we had set a long time ago and really wanted to achieve. And then it got to the point where we could achieve them, or we could at least start taking the steps. We're like, well, maybe this isn't exactly what we need to be doing. And it led us to make decisions to shift, at least for myself. I know for him, move into a more online sphere of coaching and training. And, now with the podcast, like, I mean, we said this 1,000 times already. I don't think either of us expected, like you were saying with your own career, like 5-10 years ago, like professionally talking into a microphone with people through a computer,
No,
like,
never.
I would have told you you're insane. I'm going to be fucking training people in person. I'm going to be working with athletes,
Exactly.
even on social media. And he'll tell you, because he was the one that used to tell me, back in like 2015, like, bro, you got to get on Instagram. You got to be filming, and this one videos were 15 seconds. Sorry for everyone that's heard me say this 10,000 times on the podcast already, but you got to edit your videos on iMovie and then post them to Instagram. I'm like, dude, you are insane. I'm like, I've worked with athletes my entire life, and now I'm with Equinox. Like, all I'm going to do, I'm going to kill it training people. And, we both did. But now I go to him, I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, you're so right.
We've got to evolve both for ourselves and with new stimulus from the environment. The world is different. The world is different. I mean, that, again, that's the entrepreneurial way. You go, okay, I got to be agile. I got to be nimble here.
Yeah.
The situation has changed. And either it's changed out here or it's changed in here. Doesn't matter which one in terms of the reality of it. You got to do something about it, or else you won't make it. I wouldn't be where I am right now if I was so rigid into it has to go this way. You gotta flow like water with wherever the world is going.
Right. Well, and you also learn new interests that you want to pick up over time. Like this has become one of the highlights of my week, coming in here and hanging out with him and getting to bullshit with him and getting to talk and learn from amazing people like yourself. Like, this has become one of the best highlights of my life. It's one of the first things I tell people I do for a profession when they ask me, like, oh, well, you're a coach. What do you do? No, really? Well, like, what I'm focused on now is a podcast. And, people can tell that energy and that excitement is there that, really hasn't been there for a couple of years, training people one-on-one full time.
I mean, because that can be very draining. I mean, one of the big reasons I feel like that I was at the end of my rope with New York was it felt like I had the dream of, I want to build my own thing where I have my own clients and I'm like fully independent, and I was training around the city, and I had, I had trainers also working with me because as the clientele grew, I needed more help. Like, it was this like small but very robust little operation. And it was like, I did it. And then I had no room to grow. Like, that was it. It was like, cool. So all you got to do is like do exactly what you're doing until like you die or your clients die. But there's
show up, show up, make sure someone doesn't smash their head with a weight and move forward.
And I was like, okay, I can do this, but I feel that there is so much more within me that wants to create, to experience, like, and so I think that was a big part of the leap to a new city. It wasn't like I moved to LA with there wasn't a job waiting for me. There wasn't a specific plan other than I know that there is more, and that feels like where I want to be. And so I'm going to go.
And I think also I love the fact that before when you brought up your dreams, holding on to your dreams, and, you're an example of going forward and continue doing the things you want and moving forward and flowing with it, and you mentioned something in there, like, not every pathway is going to be the way you imagined it or pictured it. And me and Josh talk about this all the time with other aspects, like we have mentioned here, for example, with the podcast. But it's like, even ourselves, like, we aligned and met in our careers and now are doing this together. Yet we say it again over and over. We've taken so many different paths. He took a different approach. I took a different approach.
Very different.
Very different, and then within what we do ourselves, we picture something this way. It might have done this instead of the way you pictured it. It might have gone curveball, but if you keep believing your dream, you can still get to your dream, but the path and process may not have been the way you pictured it. And honestly, that is completely fine with me. And I think that a lot of individuals have a hard time knowing that. And that's why they give up along the way, because they can't see themselves, go through that curveball, that curve that, now they broke what they thought and pictured in their mind. And they're like, holy shit, now I'm stuck. What do I do? This is not my dream path anymore. When in fact, it could be your dream path as long as you keep moving forward. But hey, life took you towards this other route. Oh, hey, let me flow with it. But as long as I know I got my dream in my mind, I'm going to get there no matter what. And I think that's the most important thing. And I'm going to tell you something, because I've told Josh and I've mentioned, I've done posts about it, but I've always wanted to be an athlete, a sports player, hey, come out of high school, play in the NFL, all this stuff, play sports and get signed by a top brand. Come out. I've always been a big fan of Men's Health magazine, bodybuilding.com. I was like, man, I'm going to be on there one day. Boom, 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 boom. Now, I kept living the dreams of wanting to do that, but I never got it the exact way I thought I was. I didn't become an NFL player or an athlete, to that sports level playing role. But I took the career path of becoming a coach, and entering the fitness training world. And through there, I still achieved the dream of being with PUMA, a big brand, and coming out on Men's Health magazine and being featured. But my path was given to me in a different direction. I think that's when people need to realize that you can't give up, because if you do believe it, you will get it. It might not just be the way you thought it would be.
Yes. And to me, it's just trust. It's trust, right? Like, you've got to trust, whether you're trusting in something bigger or just trusting in the idea, but that it can still happen even if it looks different than you expect. I mean, it's a deep, like, letting go of the wheel.
Yeah.
Big time.
And I think too, especially when you're talking about, like, collaborating and working with other people, like the podcast, like you're doing with PUMA, right? It's too many people, at least in my opinion, try to find someone who is exactly like they are. You know what I mean? Everything that they like, the person that they work with likes, and he'll tell you, I mean, he was just saying, like, oh, I love sports memorabilia and all, and, everything to do with sports. After 6 years of working in athletics, I can tell you, I barely watch sports anymore, and if I go to a live game, I'm like out by halftime, and he'll tell you, he tries to bring like thousands of sports memorabilia stuff here. I'm like, okay, enough. I can't, I'm going to get triggered, but yeah, other than the game, very hypocrite. I saw that smirk. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm being a hypocrite right now. He's smirking. Other than my shirt. And I know you went to LSU, so sorry. I didn't go to UF, so it's okay. I went to Syracuse.
No worries.
But and the thing, like, he doesn't like to spend a ton of money on stupid ass t-shirts that you get called out for during a podcast. So but the thing is with him and I is that he elevates me because he can fill in the cracks to my weaknesses and vice versa, right? So it's not necessarily about, getting back to my point, it's not necessarily about finding the person that 1000% aligns with everything you believe in. It's about finding someone that's going to push you to step outside of your comfort zone, challenge you when you need to be challenged, and praise you when you need to be praised, and just overall elevate your own potential.
I mean, completely. So much of what I work on is adult group projects, right? Like, that's what the working world is group projects on steroids. And so specifically when you're saying that, I was thinking about my work with the app. So with PUMATRAC, their app, I've learned so much about technology. I've learned so much about the back end of app development, where that's not what I went to school for, but my experience through fitness brought me into that new world where my collaborators, where the other people, like you said, they had similar interests and passions, but they brought a completely different skill set to the table, which made my skill set expand. It made me better because I was working around other smart, passionate people who had a different thing to bring forward. So I completely agree. There's so much value in that. So much value.
Big time. Big time. Big time.
Yeah. I really challenge myself to go out and seek the people that don't agree with me on a lot of things. I mean, most of my clients will tell you they don't agree with me on a whole lot of things, but at least with the fitness stuff, they listen to me. But everything else, they're always giving me pushback and poking holes in my arguments and, trying to make me really defend the claims that I make and everything.
Yeah.
I embrace that because, like you were saying, it's an opportunity for me to grow. It's an opportunity for me to evolve and maybe find other passions, other side hustles that I enjoy doing or that I want to get into and try out.
Yeah, because I also think through those conversations, I feel like so many conversations that when you have with other people, it also reflects back to you, well, what do I think? So
Yeah.
you may not have even thought to ponder a certain topic until it's presented to you. So if you share passionately about this, that, and the other, and I'm like, oh, I never really thought about that. What do I think? What do I feel? What is my perspective on that? So it's just an opportunity for growth and reflection on top of, getting to know someone better or getting to add those sort of skill sets all together. But I can certainly think of instances where it brought up new thoughts within myself just by having a conversation. Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up reflection, right? I think too often, we were talking about this on our last podcast, like American culture is so consumed with, progress, and not necessarily progress in the sense of like you're actually elevating your life, but just like checking boxes and getting shit done and like go. Okay. From, the time I wake up in the morning till the time I literally have to pass out because I can't do anything else. My brain doesn't work anymore. I need to be I need to be checking boxes and getting things done and, appeasing other people. And really it's like, you might be more efficient. You might be more productive if you just took a step back and you started to really analyze the things that you're doing throughout your day. I mean, I check my phone quite a bit. I'm not like I'm not different from anyone else. And like, I get sucked into those like Facebook or Twitter black holes, and I'm like scrolling through all these Facebook videos. And then I
And you're like, where did an hour go?
Well, I just like, what I really notice is like when I accidentally like knock myself back to the top video, the first video I watched, and then I have to like, I'm like, shit, okay, let me like get back to the video. I'm like, fuck, I'm scrolling for a while here. Like, how long have I been on Facebook? Like,
exactly. Exactly.
It's because he's looking at my posts.
Yeah, I am.
Yes. He's like, this is riveting. Look at this.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, a while back, I like saw he posted an old photo of him like with a trim beard and the bun. And I was like, damn.
You're like, what?
I had to look at it like 6 times. I'm like, is this the same person? I'm like, and now look at him. He looks so handsome.
I posted some throwback photo of.
I was like, I gotta look.
I dyed my hair. Yeah.
My podcast husband over here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Between me and Jenny, I think you're probably getting it from both sides. Right? You can't go anywhere.
You do whatever you want with your hair. It is a creative expression of yourself.
I always tell him he's just got to let his freak flag fly.
Yeah. I'm all about it. All about it.
Love it.
We're good yin and yang,
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, you're gonna
from the head up, he looks wild, and then I'm the one over here covered in all the tattoos and like with the sleeve.
We gotta do one of those photoshops where it's
like the face swaps. We gotta do the face swaps, yeah.
But like, can we have more fun in our lives? Yes. If that feels authentic to you, great, fucking do it. Like, I think we can get so serious. We can get so rigid. When we just need to have a little bit of fucking fun.
Yeah. I always just tell people like, you just smoke a little weed and everything will be fine. Like your life will be a whole lot better if you just take a hit of this joint. Like, all those problems will go right away. You won't have anything to worry about.
So your reflection would probably be real profound then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is true.
But yeah, no, I wanted
up the big time.
No, sorry. I wanted to touch on what you were saying though. And then I just forgot what I was going to say. I don't know. We got lost in a hole.
Yeah, it happens. So just to move forward, what new things are you working on? What new things are you, do you have in progress right now with Puma that, you can share with us? I know you probably can't share all the inner workings of what you've been up to, but anything new that
secrets. Let's see.
Well, you can tell us some secrets. I
mean, I think personally for me, I think this adjustment is new. So I'm still sort of getting getting acquainted with the new things on my plate and making sure that everyone is taken care of and that everyone is supported and that everyone is good in that regard. Coming down the pipeline, I feel like what's crazy that I've learned just about being in, with the brand is that everything is so far in advance. So with the trainers, we're working on the now, like 2020 And like, we'll start thinking about 2021, but like product is talking about 2022, 2023. And you have to be like, I'm sorry, what? Where are we?
Flip the switch, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think honestly, for me, it's just a matter of sort of balancing what is the now versus what is the future planning. Because I think there's a lot of cool stuff that is happening between the now and the future, but it's a matter of we're talking about it, but it's not actually going to come into the world for 6 months or something. So if anything, I even feel jumbled in my brain of what is now to share, because so many of my conversations, I could have a conversation at 9 a.m. about now. I could have a conversation at 9:30 about 2022.
How do you balance that? Because
well, wait. You're going to throw one in there. You're going to have to throw another one in there because I'm going to bring into existence Mendes Fitness Puma collab line.
Hey. Look, I'm learning. I'm still learning about product. There's a whole bucket of things that I still know very little about.
I just know how things fit. That's all.
How things? No, but I mean, that is one of my passion points, though, in terms of like things that will continue to happen. Is I love doing focus groups. I love doing like, let's actually talk about the stuff. And so talking to the trainers and getting that integrated into what the apparel and the footwear team are doing. Like that feels very important to me. And that feels, I love being that bridge between those worlds. So that's absolutely something that will continue sort of on the inside of the walls. But yeah, no, I don't know if anything else I want to share, but I would just, there's lots of exciting things. Lots of exciting things happening. Always.
It's going to have a Puma logo on it. All right.
That's a good start. That's a pretty good start, right? I'm sure they'll be happy about that. Yeah.
So I want to ask you, being a coach, doing what you do, and being at Puma, do you ever use some of your skill sets, you know, to help your own team at Puma to recenter themselves, to move their bodies if they need to just realign their mind at the workspace if it gets overwhelming? Do you ever do stuff with your team? Do you guys do fun activities over there at Puma? Get the team outside, move around the body, maybe do some meditating, do, you know, things to just reset. Do you guys do stuff like that over there at Puma?
I think they have done that in sort of in their main offices. I am sort of this unicorn of, because I live in Los Angeles, I've always been remote away from the physical location. But I also know that now that everyone is virtual, there is more conversations like that of, oh, should we do a group virtual meditation, or should we do a group virtual thing? Or I know some people were doing like some of the workouts as a group. So those things are absolutely happening. I haven't personally thrust them forward, but it is part of my background. Like my very first like job in New York was corporate wellness at MetLife. And so I did that of running challenges and programs and, you know, to get people moving and excited. So it wouldn't be a stretch for me to do that. But I haven't necessarily stepped into it from that world. I've looked, if anything, I see more of my role as a coach translating to being a support for the coaches. I have always thought of myself as sort of, I want to be someone's like right-hand man. I want to be someone's like, I am your secret weapon to kicking ass. Like that sort of coach role to help lift someone else up feels very natural with my personal training clients, as it does with all of the trainers that I work with. So I see it more of that through line of, Anthony, what does Anthony need, and how can I personally and as a collective support that? Because I believe in what the individuals are doing, and I believe in the impact that they're making. So I see it more in that direction.
And we honestly, and we need more people like you in roles like you.
Oh yeah.
Like you've, you know, really taken ownership over, because I've said this many times. I don't think a lot of, you know, health coaches, you know, you have a degree in the field. I have a degree in the field. You know, Mendes has been in the field for quite a long time. Most fitness professionals are not great at actual business, right? Like the number side, the sales side, you know, marketing, social media. So, and we've talked about this numerous times on the podcast, like building a team, getting that quality team around you that can take some of that workload off of you so you can do what you do best, better, and more often. You know, I think as the field continues to grow, and you're already kind of starting to see it, you know, I mean, obviously there's like the, you know, ad hoc bullshit, social media people, all get your business to 6 figures. And, that's obviously like out there, and everyone knows that that's horseshit. Like, it's pretty obvious to tell, like, you got the handlebar mustache, dude. I'm not, I'm good.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. But actually, having people like you there to support people like us, and to support all the trainers, that they have at Puma, and, hopefully other brands are going to be listening and taking advantage of these opportunities too. Cause I'm sure you as well have worked with brands in the past, and there hasn't been that support. And it's like, well, I want to sell your product. I want to be a good representation of your company, of your brand, but I don't feel like I have the resources necessary to be able to do so and do all the things that I need to do to run my business successfully, So what would you say to, maybe the younger coaches, or the coaches that are just getting into the field, or just getting into like brand partnerships and brand sponsorships? What would you say to them so that they can, start looking for the people, or if they are start looking, what characteristics they should look for in people, like yourself, that can really help them, take that next step in their career?
I mean, I think from the individual side, I think it's so important for, let's say, a trainer, an individual, someone that is like thrusting forth into this amazing industry of coaching and fitness and all of that, is show what you can do in a way that is authentic to you. So I think the best comparison is from the dance and audition world of, you don't walk into, the audition and just hope that they see what you can do. You have to show them in that room, right? It's not an imagination game. It's no, let me show you what I'm capable of. So I think that is today's social media. That is today's maybe LinkedIn. That is maybe YouTube. But how are you putting your passions and your skills out there in a way that you can be found, in a way that you are specific, so that it's clear what you stand for, that it's clear the causes that you are supporting, because I think that will help the right brand to align to you. So if you're just sort of this generic fitness, I don't even know what generic fitness would be, but right, if it's unclear sort of who you want, but I think because every brand out there, right, has a personality. Every brand has a personality. It's like a person. So the right brands, the right personality, want to align with the right people, that they all are going to be this like harmonious relationship. And the way to do that is for you to show who you are out to the world.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Emily, what can I say? It's been amazing. We're literally hit an hour, and it's been so much fun, so much knowledge, so much vibrance. Like, you're an amazing person, and we appreciate you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I know I speak for both of us when I say our audience is going to get a ton out of this.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully be able to, if they do want to transition out of, pure training like all three of us have, be able to understand that there are so many different avenues that they can take.
And you're a big example of that, by 100%. The way. So with that being said, I want to...
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I think it's important for, like Josh said, for other individuals to be able to see this, out of this experience. With that being said, what are the platforms? Where can individuals find you and contact you? Please feel free to share anything you want.
Yeah, no, I think my Instagram is emcookharris, mcookharris. My website is emilycookharris.com. Those would be the best places to find me. And I think my parting sentiments is like, just keep going. Because if anywhere along the journey, any of us would have just been like, I'm done, I'm out. Unless it was something that you really wanted and should decide, no, this is no longer for me. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like that staying power, that like keep flowing forward and like let shit take you where it wants to take you, because it will keep going if you just keep following that authenticity within yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No doubt. Well, thank you one last time. We appreciate it. If there's anything, in the future we can do to, help you with any project or anything you got going on, please let us know.
Definitely. If you have anything with Puma, with yourself, anything, come on here. We'll love to share it. And we'll definitely love to have you back.
And once everything's kind of calmed down a little bit, you got to come back to the real best coast and come down to Miami.
I would would be
Maybe
honored.
you move to Miami. Who knows?
Yeah,
Hey.
no state income tax.
Oh, that's right.
You
Oh,
know?
hey.
Beaches, but
Look,
actually,
I like being a free bird. Who knows? I
Beaches.
may find myself in Miami.
right, you got beaches and actual warm water too. You know, it's
That's
just not like
true. It's very cold in LA. Very cold in water. No, you guys are the best. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
and thank you all of you who have listened. Appreciate you so much.
Awesome.
Till next time, guys.
Bye.
Much love.